Hey, welcome back to another Black City Coffee vlog. In this video, I wanted to talk about my favorite green this year. I think up until, New Year's Eve, New Year's Eve, we'll be just reflecting back on a couple of things over this year. So I have my roast path portal up. The only thing, I wanted to look back and see like how many roasts we actually did this year, but I don't think that's possible. Maybe I have to go into my actual tablet and then pull it up and things like that. But just looking at this, I'm like, man, it's got to be a lot because just within the last, I don't know, 2 months, this is like, I don't know, let me count that. What is that, like 30, maybe 25, 30 roasts? That's a lot for me. Let's talk about my favorite green to roast this year. I think even one of you guys asked, I put it here somewhere. What is your favorite greens? Best greens. Okay, that's a little different question. What's the best green that you've roasted from Alejandro? Um, Best green that I've roasted. Now, how do you define best? Maybe that's like favorite, so we'll just kind of use those words interchangeably. Favorite meaning maybe it was easy, maybe it didn't give me any problems, but I was thinking of this prompt for myself and what was my favorite or what was the best green that I roasted this year. And I've gone back and forth because I did get a lot of different samples from different importers when I was trying to make a decision on what would replace one of the greens in my lineup. I was thinking about, well, do I pick one on ease? Do I pick one on versatility? Do I pick one on like uniqueness? Things like that. So for me, here are my qualifiers for favorite green this year in 2021. Had to be exciting. And it had to be something that wasn't easy, meaning exciting, meaning that when I was roasting it, it was exciting. So it wasn't boring roasting it. There are some boring greens, which just kind of like react predictively. That's not necessarily boring. That's kind of like reassuring. But I would say just something that kind of maybe challenged me, okay? And it wasn't just this super easy, and it kind of made me think a little bit, and it challenged my roasting knowledge up until this point, okay? But it didn't make me want to jump off the roasting cliff. So, like a balance, like, okay, you can challenge me, but I don't want to like, stop roasting because I'm so frustrated with it. All right, so that in a turn of being qualifier, a challenge, not boring. All right. Next, it had to taste great. And not just good, but it had to taste great. So I think those are the best things that would make me say that it's a favorite. And I think here's like kind of a bonus one, which is not a requirement, but it was definitely a bonus. And it's kind of like what I think tips it over for me was that it worked well in blends and that it had some range in terms of being super light or even going into, dare I say, medium territory. And that is the green, the anaerobic washed process from Siempre Verde Farms from Ecuador, the Pichincha area. That green right there. And when I first got it, it was given to me as a very generous sample, like something like 350 gram. They had just started, like this was their first harvest, and they worked with Cavella coffee importers. They're a big company, so I felt like they could be trusted in terms of being my very first non-local coffee buy from another importer who wasn't like somebody who I knew, right? I would have to be doing all of this stuff online. And so they built a lot of trust with me over email. And I just asked my very basic questions with zero experience. And I was kind of slow to make it happen, and kind of realize, well, what's the norm here? When you're jumping into a new industry, you don't know the ropes yet, so you're really just kind of tiptoeing and really going slow with each step and deciding whether or not you want to spend the money that you're spending. And I don't think I spent that much. I think ended up being like maybe close to like $400 or $500, and that was kind of high. That's kind of expensive because I was buying such a low quantity. You know, like when you buy wholesale, once you start spending, or once you start purchasing larger quantities, you can get a better price break. So I'm not even like breaking the true wholesaler cost for my coffees. I get a little bit of a break, but not that much. So, you know, like I said in that one video, the worst thing I could have done as a business this year is not focus on profit. But, you know, that's for me right now, that's not what it was about. But this green, I want to show you a couple of just like, where's the last one I did? This one's, let's just view this. I don't know. Let's maximize it. Okay. Yeah, this looks like a pretty standard roast curve of this. So it took me all year to get this curve to act like this. Because before it was crashing at first crack. It was going boom like this. And I was having a very short development on this coffee, and I didn't know why. And when you look at this, guys, don't think that my you know, this is kind of, I don't think this is the best representation of what's going on in the actual events. I don't know how to do that thing where you can override or offset things to like get things to match up exactly. So my charge for this coffee ended up being 360 when I feel like I feel like I got to a good point with this coffee. I felt like it was a bit of a challenge. So I do a 360 charge, not 422 like it says here. Yeah, I don't know how to do that. I got to ask Nick from Mill City Roasters to figure that out. And I always have to remember to ask him because I always forget. Turning point at 150. Yeah, that's pretty standard. Green to yellow at 345. You know, as I think this coffee was getting a little bit older, it was transitioning into yellow a little bit quicker. I'd like to see this at maybe just, you know, just 15 seconds further along. So I think as coffee starts to age, it starts to hit its numbers a little bit earlier than it used to when it was super fresh, super dense, had a little bit more moisture in its coffee. So this is at the tail end of this coffee. Like we're at literally the last 2 pounds of this coffee here for an order. And then we sold out of it and I couldn't get any more because I just didn't even know. I didn't even know how to order correctly. You know, like, oh, I'm running low. Like, when should I order? But there's also am I going to move this coffee? Do I want to move on to different coffees? That sort of thing. Because I'm still learning. I want another challenge. And I want to eventually just move across the globe and have roasted every single origin that I can get my hands on. That's the big goal. And we'll start like a official, I've been thinking about this for a long time, but it's just like, hey, let's buy 5 pounds from every single origin in the world. That would be really fun. But I need like a budget to do that. I'm not just going to pull out of my pocket. So we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. That way it could be a cool, like maybe it's a cool project that we could do together and learn at the same time and examine, you know, all this stuff. Okay, continuing on, we got first crack. I may have hit this button a little early, but I'm saying like, you see look at this crazy first crack time at 5:56. That's early, right? Like typically when I was, you know, maybe not at the tail end of my supply of this green, it was cracking like late 7 minutes, early 8 minutes, like standard coffees do, right? I'd say at this batch size and at this drum size at 1 kilogram. 150, this is weird. I don't know what's going on here, why this is not true for the bean temp. This would be 373, something like that. That's probably what happened there. Not this dropping here. I don't know what's going on here. It could be true. I don't know. Whatever. From my notes and my experience, these numbers are just a little bit off. So don't trust these right now, okay? I got to figure that out. Maybe I got my wires crossed or something is off. Anyway, this is a pretty typical sort of curve that I would see in general. I'm not too hung up on these numbers or these temperatures or anything, or even the look of this curve. Um, as I'm dropping the coffee, I'm looking for that consistency and that color. This says 20%. Yeah, that's a little off. So things are off. So yeah, but the curve I think is the general shape of it is generally what I've been getting with this coffee. And before, like I said, at first crack, it would just crash like this. So it'd be like, imagine that not being there, like this line being here. So that was kind of an issue. And it was still bright. And because the green was so good, even though I make a mistake as a roaster, it still shone through on the cupping table and in my coffees, and nobody batted an eye. They could not taste the difference. Or I mean, at least I didn't get any complaints. But when I tasted it, I could tell that it was just a little bit more overdeveloped than I'd like, and that I was not serving this green as well as I could. And I'm so happy that I did that roasting class because I was able to figure out like, oh, I'm roasting this guy too long, and I'm taking out a lot of its nuance, a lot of its delicacy, and I feel like I almost did it. I feel like I almost did it. I didn't have as much time, and maybe I could have been more aggressive about it, but it's cool. I'm just gonna move on, get new coffees like I did. I got my new Ethiopia Yerg, which is the most, I think, exciting tasting coffee on the menu. Everything else is pretty much well, my decaf is really good too. Really nice, bright. You can get a nice, lively, juicy, acidic cup from my decaf, which is sourced from Bodhi. And I think that roasts really easily too. So that's a great one. I'd have to put that as my favorite decaf of this year. It's the Columbia Palo from Palo Rosso, I believe. Let's see if we could find it here. I'll show you what it looks like here. Yeah, I mean, it roasts really easily for me now. I do a 350 charge, not 412. 146 looks good. 447 looks good on green to yellow or dry in. First crack at 834, and I drop at 1030. Yeah, I mean, I don't drop it super light. I don't think you can do that with decafs. It's just they're so, in a way, denatured in that they've had their caffeine taken out of them, so they just do better, I think, with a little bit more sweetness. I don't know. Maybe I haven't cracked it yet. It's still a very lively and acidic cup. This green. If you get like Swiss water process, like this is EA process. So sugarcane process. They ferment sugarcane. They create ethyl acetate from it, and from that they can sort of like attract the caffeine molecules in the coffee, wash it, rinse it away. It does have a funny smell when you smell the green, but you don't taste that at all in this decaf. And it's a very lively and acidic cup, and I think it's so good. I think it's so good. Versus Swiss water decaf, which we'll talk about in another video. I just feel like it's I don't know, it's like it's to me it's very boring. It's very one note. I don't get any lively acidity from it, and I feel like you can only roast Swiss water decaf to like a medium level to get that sweetness. Otherwise, you can't push it to light. It doesn't taste good to me. I don't know, maybe I haven't cracked it yet or something. But yeah, this is a typical decaf roast. And this is my favorite decaf to roast. I feel like it's such a breeze um, to roast. It behaves really well in the roaster. And I really feel like if you haven't tried this type of decaf, either with me or with somebody else, like try it. Try it. EA process, sugarcane process from Colombia, one of the most exciting places to get coffee. A lot of like cool experimental processes that they're doing over there for really exciting flavors. Not, I feel like it's fairly affordable. Okay. I got this from Bodhi. Roasts really well. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay. I would love to go way back in the year. I can't do that here, but to show you what Ecuador looked like. What does this one look like? It's still going to look pretty much the same, I think. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what this, sometimes I can't figure out how to take away the underlay. This is not the right underlay when I'm roasting. And I have the worst, not the worst, but the tablet is not very good. It's not very responsive. And this, you know, this program's in beta still, I believe. So it's still kind of working out the kinks, but you know, um, I support Mill City Roasters, so I use it. But this darker line here, that's, you know, and that's what you guys saw earlier. Yeah, they look pretty much the same. 13, 149, yeah. Keeping under a minute for the turning point. Um, and yeah, eliminating that soak for me, which I thought I had to do. Like I thought it was just like a, I don't know, for me, in my situation, I just don't use it. And even though I have a small machine and everything, and I feel like I can get the coffee to do what I want it to do, um, even though like in every book I've read or every manual I've read, they're like soak it or whatever. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I've tried it the other way and I feel like it turns around too slowly and I need it to turn around quicker for me. I need to hit green to yellow quicker. Instead of hitting at like when I soaked, I would hit green to yellow at 5. And that's why I feel like my roasts were a lot darker than I was intending. And I was like, man, I feel like I'm like you guys say it too. It's like I'm doing everything by the book, but it's not doing what I want it to do. So try to change something, you know, you don't break a rule or two. A lot of my I feel like the confidence that I get in roasting is from just, you know, straying away from what I've been told and like just trying it out and then seeing if it's true for me. Like I may have a rule for me that may not be true for you because for whatever reason, right? So, yeah, that's my favorite green. I gotta say, it's Ecuador. Got another Ecuador right here. Let's look at this one just randomly. Yeah, they look all the same. I don't know. I'm not like very good at doing the underlay, like having the discipline to set the underlay so that you could see that they're all pretty much the same. But we're looking at them; they're all pretty much the same. Um, in terms of consistency, yeah, see, pretty much the same. I have this little dip here, like it's kind of dipping, not really. And then here, boom, we hit first crack. I bump up the gas and then I make sure that it doesn't crash. That was the big thing with this coffee. I don't do this with every coffee, right? Like every coffee requires, um, you know, a certain driver. So when you're at the helm and you're like looking at this ROR as it's, you know, going up or down, you're turning that boat. You're driving that boat. You're sailing that ship. Okay, so that was my favorite green this year. Um, the one that replaced it, which is this one, Ethiopia Yuri Chef, it rose even easier. So, um, you know, I love it. It's really good in blends. It's not as special in the cup as that anaerobic washed uh, Ecuador, but it's still really good. I really love it. This one's from Hasea. But yeah. So, I hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you tomorrow in the next video. Bye.